Shalom, it's Levi Shore. Welcome back to Swing Good Torah. We're in a very special time right now, the time of the Shovavim. So the Shovavim comes from the first letter of all the parshas we're reading right now in the Torah. And it's the special parshas that talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim, the exodus from Egypt, and how we had the Gula, how we were saved from the slavery in Egypt. So the parshas is Parsha Shmos, Parsha Vayera, Parsha Bo, Parsha Beshalach, Parsha Yisro, and Parsha Mishpati. Because this is a leap year, we add, it's Shovavim Tat, because we also add the Parshas Teruma and Tetzaveh this year. So it's a very special year, and we're learning the secret of how we got out of Egypt. And basically, Za'aka and Anacha, like we were just groaning from the harsh work of the slavery, but it was the harshness of the Galus, of the exile. And we wanted out. We wanted to be back in Eretz Israel, back in the land of Israel. We wanted to be close again to Hashem. We wanted to build a Beis HaMikdash, build a temple so the Shekhinah of Hashem could return. And I think it's been too long. 2,024 years of this Galus Edom, this Roman exile. It's time for us all to go home from the four corners of the world. It's time now to pour out our prayers. It's time for teshuvah. And the period of Shovavim is from the pasuk. Let me see if I can find it here. Shuvu banim yeshovavim, like return. It's kind of like my wayward sons. Return my wayward sons, but return the ones that have wandered off. It's time to shuv. It's time to return to Hashem. Return to Hashem. That Hashem's our God. Return to the Torah. Return to the mitzvos. Return to the achdus, that we are one people. It's all the good stuff. It's returning, and we want Yemotza Mashiach. We want the age of Mashiach to begin. But we can learn a valuable lesson from Parsha Shmos and the burning bush. So Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, he wandered off into the midbar, into the desert, to this one lost little sheep. And that's the Shovavim. It's all the Jewish people that, like, all of us were raised in public school and went to college and university. And unfortunately, we were raised by television and movies and radio and the pop culture and pop music and all of it, and comic books and all that stuff. And in some ways, we wandered off into the desert. We wandered off and we forgot, that Hashem's our God. We forgot the Torah. We just never learned it. We were like Tinak Shenishba, like stolen little babies, like that little baby. And we all know Kafir Bibas and his brother Ariel, and it's time to save them. It's time. And Bizrat Hashem, their mother and father are still alive. But Moshe, he wandered off into that desert to bring back this lost little sheep. And Hashem said, this is going to be the leader of the Jewish people. And then he showed him the sneh. He showed him the burning bush. And where was this? Where does this all happen? This happened, at the famous desert, the Sinai Desert, and happened at that famous mountain. Not the Everest, not the K2, just little humble mountain of Har Sinai, a Mount Sinai. And that's where Hashem was going to reveal himself. That's where this infinite being was going to talk to this little tiny nation, a humble nation, not the grand billion some, nation, a small nation, a little nation, and a humble nation. And that's who Hashem was going to reveal himself. And this was the coming attraction. And Hashem showed Moshe that sneh. And there was a malach inside, and Hashem personally spoke to him in Nevuah while Moshe's awake during the day. It's incredible. And Hashem speaks to him. And what Moshe saw, and the Al-Sheikh tells us something incredible. Moshe saw that the thorns of the bush, they weren't being burned by the fire. So what did it all represent? So the Al-Sheikh says the thorns, they were Klal Yisrael. They were the Jewish people. And in a way, they were kind of this small, humble people. They were a little bush. And they were just thorns and little branches, and not all covered with leaves and flowers right now. They were just suffering under the harsh, the shibud, the slavery in Mitzrayim, the slavery in Egypt. And who's the fire? And the fire was Mitzrayim. The fire was all their kishuf, their sorcery, their avodah zarah. They prayed to animals as their gods. They just were involved in all kinds of physical immorality. And that fire all around us, that wouldn't touch us. It wouldn't consume us. It wouldn't destroy us. And this was the sign, one of the signs that Hashem gave to Moshe. It's time to now go and rescue my people. It's time to bring my people out from Mitzrayim. So what's happening now with Gaza? Right, same thing. There's a fire around us, the fire of Hamas, the fire of violence and stealing and physical immorality. And Avodah Zarah, they worship a stone in the middle of a Meccan desert. They don't follow Hashem. They don't follow His Torah. They don't follow His mitzvos. And they're all around us, and they've captured us. And they captured some of the Jewish people, and they brought them to Gaza. But if Hashem sustained us for 210 years in the Egyptian exile, Hashem sustaining those hostages now. We can't lose hope. We want to see all the hostages return. And now's the time to pour out our prayers, to storm the gates of Shemayim, to ask Hashem to open up the gates of heaven and pour down rachamim, pour down compassion and mercy and bracha, and please rescue those hostages. And we're going to add our tefillah, our prayers, and we're going to say Tehillim with intensity, with kavana, and we're going to learn Hashem's Torah, the sweet words of Hashem's Torah, and we're going to do His mitzvos, and we're going to do gemilas chasadim, we're going to do kindness for each other, and we're going to start to see the miraculous. It's time to end this secular, empty world, because that's not what the world is. The world's filled with kedusha. The world is created by this infinite being, and there's potentials for nisim, potentials for miracles, and we want to open up the gates of nevuah again, the gates of prophecy, so we can communicate with Hashem. And it begins today, and we can play a huge part. Just our little prayers, our little Torah learning, our little mitzvah, our little humble people, but we can be great again. We can be the people that came out of Mitzrayim, and we can be the Jewish people, and we can be the generation that sees the coming of Mashiach, and we can be the generation that sees the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. Let's start today. Let's do this. Let's see the return of those hostages. Let's see a refuah shlema, a healing for whoever needs it. Let's see shidduchim for whoever is looking for a marriage and can't find a partner. Let's see children like the miraculous childbirth we used to have in Mitzrayim. Let's fill the world, let's fill the Jewish people with bracha, with blessing. Let's fill the world with blessing, because we are the nation of blessing. And let's see protection from those that attack us. And let's see the time of the Shovavim, that it's time to return to Hashem. And once again, it's the Shuvu Banim Shovavim. It's time to return. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah.